Right, thank you all very much for coming. We are missing a few people, but we'll make a start. Okay, my name is Rick. I am a systems engineering academic in the UK. I work for a UK university teaching systems engineering. I'm also the INCOSE Associate Director for Education, which is primarily why I'm here today. And I'm the editor-in-chief of something called Bookcase, which is looks after the systems engineering body of knowledge, which may become relevant. Okay, so I'm going to give you a brief introduction to some of the background of how we've got here and what this forum is about, during which time I'm hoping Don Gilosh is going to turn up, because he's then introducing the keynote speaker. So if I start speaking slowly and glancing around the room, you'll know that I'm stalling. So thank yous. Thank you to WPI. We're very, very grateful for not only hosting but co-sponsoring this event. And I think, as you've just heard, in many ways, WPI and some of the other institutions represented here at this forum are kind of a model for the joined-up, system-focused, real-world related sorts of education at undergraduate and graduate level that really we're hoping that this forum and the activities we're all involved in will try to promote. So we're very happy to be here for that reason as well. INCOSE, I'm going to say a little bit in a moment about INCOSE's perspective on education activities as part of INCOSE's broader activity and why we got to this meeting. How many people here are members of INCOSE or involved in systems engineering? So quite a lot of you. Okay, excellent. And the Systems Engineering Research Centre, who have co-sponsored this event and most of our other education-based activities. The CERC are very active in the US in bringing together a whole lot of universities involved in systems engineering research and human capital development. I think that's the term you used for it. Is one of the CERC's themes. We're happy to have Professor Altmeister here, who's the director, chief operating officer. I should have asked you that this morning, shouldn't I? Of the CERC and also INCOSE's academic director. So brings those two ideas together. I'm also absolutely delighted to have ASEE involved in this workshop. How many of you are members or involved in ASEE? Quite a few of you. And particularly thank you to Alice Squires, who's helped us make that connection with ASWE, and a connection that we hope we're going to expand and build on going forward. We can't do this without collaborating with other organizations, both in the US and internationally, and ASWE is an obvious candidate to start that process. And thank you to everybody who's turned up. I'm going to make myself a hostage to fortune and very quickly go around the room and ask you to say hello. So where are you and where are you from? Just so we've got a picture of who's here. So let's start at the back just for a laugh.
So Chris Miles, I'm from a company in Burlington called Foliage, and a local resident, proud to say graduate of WPI.
Excellent, thank you.
Cyrus Hilton, I'm with the BA.
Kevin Beach, assistant professor at Russell Institute of Technology.
Steve Lawrence, associate professor at the University of Science and Technology.
David Skansky, Dean of Engineering at WPI.
Okay. I moved academic program director of systems engineering at WPI.
Could I get in quickly?
I'm the professor of systems engineering and chair of the systems engineering department in the Naval Postgraduate School of Monterey County.
Thank you very much. Yes, please.
I'm Kristen Marengo. I am a member of Cross-Professional Education here at WPI.
Thank you.
Sven Deline, I'm on faculty at Penn State University.
Bill Fortney, I'm the director of North Carolina State University Mechanical Engineering Systems Department.
Michael Singer with the International Society for System Sciences.
Willis Singer,
Thank you.
Hans Forrest, professor of systems engineering at WPI. Pat Healy, MIT.
Armand Chap. One close to the plug. Armand Chap at University of Texas at Austin, Aerospace Engineering.
Thank you.
Bill Sola with the graduate dean.
Chris Unger, Chief Systems Engineer for GE Healthcare.
Victor Colley, the Systems Science Lecturer for the new Master's Program in Systems Engineering, College of Engineering, California State Polytechnic University.
Larry Strasser, Vice Chair of Systems Engineering, the Graduate Program at Johns Hopkins University.
Tommy Jackson, Professor and Chair of Industrial and Systems Engineering at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. We're in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Alan Harding, President-elect of Incosi.
Welcome home.
Eddie Fuller, Stevens Institute of Technology.
Dennis Beatty, Innovative Decisions Incorporated.
John Wade, Stevens Institute and Chief Technology Officer.
Art Preisker, Stevens Institute and CERT, and Incosi Director of Graphic
Alex Squires from Washington State University and also worked on the systems engineering division of the ASWE.
Michael Squires, I'm a senior at Virginia Tech in Industrial Systems Engineering.
Tom Smirani, Assistant Teaching Professor of Systems Engineering, WPI.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. I wish I'd known I'd brought my mom. Thank you all for coming. And what I said about WPI being an exemplar of the kind of school and the kind of education we're looking to promote, I think applies to all the institutes we've just heard about, which is why you're here. So I think we've got hopefully a community of people who get this. What we're trying to do is figure out what we all get and then get out to those schools that don't do it and promote it and get it more widely accepted. So thank you all very much for coming. I'm going to give you a very quick introduction. So Incosi went through a strategic review over the last few years and produced a number of goals that as an organization we were trying to promote as an organization involved in really pushing the professionalism of systems engineering as a discipline. And one of those goals was to be the lead society for information on systems engineering education for all engineers. And that originally said for systems engineers. And I think largely out of the first workshop we had on this topic back in 2013, somebody's waving at me from the back, we changed that to all engineers, and that's really been our focus going forward. We have a number of activities related to that, systems engineering, body of knowledge and associated graduate curriculum for systems engineers, which you can find out more about at the Bookcase website. A number of activities related to competency, STEM, students and honor societies, which Incosi is involved in. And also there are a number of research activities that have come out of some of these workshops, things like looking at the relationship between systems engineering and software engineering, an activity which is being promoted by the National Science Foundation here in the US to look at some of the underlying theory of systems engineering. And I've put the CERC website against that one because that's a good place to go, but they're involved in a number of things. And this activity, which is looking particularly at systems-related activity for all engineers, which is something that Incosi wants to promote for various reasons. It helps that pipeline of getting more systems engineers. As a systems engineer, if you work in an organization where all the engineers around you get systems, it makes it easier to do your job. So Incosi has an interest in that topic because it's good for systems engineering. And hopefully that's why the rest of you are here. So this is the aim for this workshop or for these series of workshops. So we're really trying to, we're recognizing that it's already happening, that this is not something we've invented. We want to improve the use of systems engineering knowledge. We're focusing on university education in this activity and all engineers, so that's undergraduate and graduate as we see fit. And the question of what we target and when we target is, but certainly for this workshop, neither of those, the whole scope of university education is on the table for us to discuss. And we hope to provide some useful outcomes. So I'm hoping that tomorrow we'll be standing here talking about the things that we've already started doing and are going to go away and continue to do and connect into what we're doing to do something practical to make this more of a reality. And we recognize that this can only be done through collaboration and partnering. And I say we're very glad to have some of the people here from a slightly broader community, and we've already started looking at other people we can reach out to spread this a little bit further, not only in the US but internationally. That's your morning eye test. I sent out a brief overview of how we got to here with the invitation to this workshop, which some of you will have seen. If you haven't, or if you didn't get that far in reading it, these words will be with everything else that's produced today and tomorrow on the INCOSE website, and we'll try to identify where that might be. But we talked about a number of things, really understanding what the value of the education was, looking to lobby national societies and the sort of people who set the agenda for engineering to include something about systems, thinking about the theory of the systems knowledge that should go into the education and the theory of education. And we've heard already this morning that a good place to get systems type activities is in projects and applying your breadth of your engineering. And also that there's lots of good stuff going on and we should understand that before we start trying to do anything new. And that all boils down really into the three topics that we've made the focus of this workshop. So the why are we doing it? We think we know what the value. You could all probably give me an answer to that question, but can we express it in a way that the rest of the world will understand and buy into? What should we be doing? What knowledge? And again, we already have an idea of what systems knowledge, systems engineering knowledge should go into education, but we can probably do better to say what that should be, how to prioritize it. How can we summarize and synthesize some parts of it to get the key message across? And how do we do it? How do we deliver it? How do we get it into university curriculum? What products could we produce? What useful things could we do to actually make it happen? And of course, it's not simple. So all of those bubbles already have information in them. We've got to deal with what was already there, but none of them is full. We've got to deal with the people issues. There are people who started this work and got us to where we are now who had an idea, and that's where this has come from. There are people in this room now who are going to be part of the community to take it forward who might have a different idea, and we've got to deal with that. There are the people who've done this kind of thing before, and that can be a good thing and a bad thing. If people have tried to do this and failed, we've got to live with that burden. If there are really good examples of people doing this elsewhere that we can attach ourselves to, we can get some value from it. And there are the people who aren't here today. I'm starting to sound like Donna Rumsfeld, aren't I? There are the unknown known people who are going to be involved in this but don't know it yet. So we've got to deal with all of those issues. And of course, any amount of external context that you like. Okay, so broader issues of education, schools, industry, and we've got a number of people, although we've got broadly an academic audience here, we've got a number of you who are also from industry because we need to understand where our engineers are going. So any amount of training and competency and recruitment. We've got to deal with the university context, faculty and curriculum. So there's any amount, and I've put question marks on the corners of this diagram to represent the fact that it's all the things I could think of in about 10 minutes of drawing a slide and getting it full. So it's going to be complicated, and if I could get one message to all engineering students, it would be that all problems are like this. No problems start from a green field. All problems are not only technical, but they're about people. All problems have any amount of external context that you can't ignore and you've got to deal with. And so we're going to have to deal with this workshop, but really that shouldn't be a surprise to us because that's the nature of the kind of problem we're trying to deal with. And we're going to do that by having a workshop. We're going to start with an industrial perspective. We have three short panel discussions this morning where we'll have a brief talk from someone involved in an aspect of the why, what, how, and then a short discussion to allow us all in plenary to kind of identify some of the topics or issues we want to talk about. We'll then this afternoon have 3 parallel sessions. That's not perfect because I know several people who'd like to be in more than one of those sessions. But we've got to actually get a smaller group of people in a room and start doing stuff. And those sessions will overlap with each other inevitably. But we'll try to at least make some progress on this stuff, identify some topics that we can take forward. My final thank you, I think, is to the 6 co-chairs who've agreed to lead the afternoon sessions. So Larry and Dennis, Bill and Sven, and Don and Cliff, who are going to help guide those sessions to understand the current situation, get their points of view out into the open, and maybe start thinking about some of the practical things we could all do. I've asked them to try and produce a short summary of what they produced today, which we will print out and stick up somewhere during this evening's reception. So in a convivial atmosphere, you can all see what the other groups did and be confident as to who is best. And then tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow morning rather, we'll pick up from that. We'll try and get something concrete out of this workshop to help take forward. And that'll be the basis for a final plenary tomorrow afternoon to just see if we can't get something concrete out of this workshop to take forward, which I'd love to be able to do if we can, to task in COSI or ASWE or CERC or some of the people we're not talking to today, but we'd like to talk to start doing something about this topic. So that's where we are. And again, if I haven't thanked someone, I'll thank them later. But thank you all for coming. Did Don get here? Okay, so Fred is going to introduce the keynote. Thank you, Fred. Thank you.